What's going on? You're in the Beat Sessions. I'm your host, Mitchell Weary. Let's talk about this new record from Soft Cell. It's entitled Happiness Not Included. No kidding. I feel like the album title's fair warning on this one. We are getting ready to collectively venture down the rabbit hole, so to speak, but I'm very excited to do this with all of you. Buckle up, though, before we do so. This album was released on May 6th. It is studio album number 6 for the band. It's their first in 20 years. Their follow-up to 2002's Cruelty Without Beauty. And Mark Allman and Dave Ball, they make quite a pair. These two, very interesting duo, and their success not quite as big in the US as it was in the UK, but there was a period there, especially for like 2 years in the early 80s, where these guys were a big part of the it factor. A prolific output, first 4 albums in 81, 82, 83, and 84. I think that ultimately led to their early demise, that and excessive drug use, the stress of fame, all these different things. I'm glad it didn't affect their solo careers, though. Both these guys, successful solo careers to this day. And I like when they choose to revisit this project. They do it when they're in the mood. So, you know, the last 2 records, great projects. And I've always dug their style. I like the influence of new wave and post-punk. I like how pop-driven that sound is, and I really like the influence of glam rock as well. I definitely feel, you know, influences like David Bowie, Susie Sue, Mark Bolan in their music, and I love that dark territory that it goes into. This album is not, you know, uncharted territory for these guys. This is a band that put out songs like Sex Dwarf and CD Films, and, you know, need I say more? I could keep going, but you get the idea. So I like the dark dystopian feel of this record. I like that it's a record inspired by COVID, but not about COVID. And Mark Allman has flat out come out and said that. And I really like that. I really think it's important. I've said it multiple times on the channel that it's okay to be influenced by that period of time, but no one wants to be directly reminded of it. And this type of record it's the type of record that is, you know, everybody picks their own poison, but I think everybody has that type of dark material that, you know, when they need it, this takes them to the right place. And me personally, I like to dance a lot when that happens. So I like the dark lyrical content contrasted with, I mean, just the dance floor bangers that are on this record. There's just a lot of really fun pop oriented music on this record, and it's a good dynamic. It's working. It's bizarre in all the right ways. I will say that not everybody is going to like this record because of the lyrical content. I think, you know, you might find yourself enjoying the music, but maybe put off a little bit by the dark lyrical content. But what I will say is that there are moments where the outlook does seem slightly positive. It's not all just doom and gloom, but even then, sometimes you just you need that outlet when you are feeling extra doomy and gloomy. And this is definitely going to be a new one for me. I'm looking forward to working this album into the mix when the proper time is right for it. But it kicks off with the song Happy, Happy, Happy. Definitely this dystopian post-punk feel on this track. A lot of prog rock on this thing. And then once the chorus kicks in, it's just got this really bright dance feel in the chorus. It's a really good indication of what you're going to get throughout this record. Your second track, Polaroid. I love this song. The song is about the first time the band met Andy Warhol. And so it's, you know, there's references to The Factory, great sci-fi synth and this groovy post-punk feel. And yeah, I really like the lyrical content on this particular song. These songs are, Mark was talking about how he wanted to call this record Future Nostalgia, and then Dua Lipa dropped her record and he was like, oh no. So they ended up with Happiness Not Included, which honestly I find very entertaining as an album title. Bruises on All My Illusions. I think it's appropriate more so for all the songs on this record. That third track is going to keep it just keeps this infectious gloom coming. Bruises on All My Illusions. It's a fun illusion, great hook, great melody in that song. Purple Zone is where we get number 4. This is featuring the Pet Shop Boys. This is a great collaboration. This is a song that acts like a cleanup hitter on this record. It is a banger, and it perfectly balances the feel of both the Pet Shop Boys and Soft Cell. It's a combination made in heaven. I really am such a big fan of this song. Looking forward to the remixes. I really haven't checked anything outside of the record out yet, but I'm sure people have done stuff. I'm sure there's stuff that's out there that I'm really looking forward to checking out myself. Heart Like Chernobyl has got this pulsating synth, and I love the beat. I love the dark territory that this song covers with the light melancholy music. It's a very interesting track about, you know, how social media and the news itself has just led to all of our hearts being callous and decimated. We've become so numb to just this barrage of content. And I like the I like the politically driven content on this record. I think this album didn't get a lot of coverage. I've been like waiting for it to happen in the last week or so while I've been thinking about this record, and I've seen not a whole lot of discussion about this record. And I think a lot of it might be that it is very critical of the media, and in my personal opinion, rightfully so. I think most of the media these days, the news they feed us is it's garbage, and it's meant to be fear mongering. It's no longer objective news, information. It's really unfortunate, but I think the criticism on this record is fair, and I like that element of this album. Light Sleepers is your 6th song. It's got this signature 80s new wave feel. It's and it's like this ballady moment. It comes at a right moment on the record. It's going to close out your A side, and it's got this really nice minimal orchestration to it as well over this pulsating synth. Great way to wrap up that side of the record. Happiness Not Included, your self-titled track, opens up your B side. This is a banger that brings some hard truth. I really like the lyrics on this song. Get a little jazz flute towards the end on this one. Keep things interesting. I always like that. Nostalgia Machine. It's got this disco and 90s dance feel. I really dig this track. Definitely one of my favorites on this album. And then if you're streaming this thing, you're going to get the song Nighthawks, which is it's got this like funky post-punk feel. It's got a little bit of a Daft Punk influence that I'm feeling in it anyway. It's unfortunately not included on the vinyl package. However, what I will say is that the omission of that track keeps this thing at an affordable 1-record package, and I'm liking that about this. You know how I feel about this stuff. So no wasted space on this album, but you won't get that track Nighthawks if you're going to enjoy this thing on wax. I'm Not a Friend of God is your 10th track, which is it's got this doo-wop new wave feel. It's a very interesting track, and it's certainly the type of dark territory that I appreciate this album going into. And again, fair warning, a lot of people might not necessarily be thrilled about that type of lyrical content while they're listening to a record. Tranquilizer is your penultimate track. It's got this weird ambient groove. I really like how bass driven this song is. There's country influences on this song that I'm feeling, and another very unique track. Acts as a great way to lead into your final song, New Eden, which is it's just gentle piano driven track. It's honestly, the riff kind of feels like New York a little bit, is kind of the melody that I was catching there, but it's got this subtle sci-fi element, and it's a mellow way to close out what is a pretty intense record, but great balance as well. And this is not going to be everybody's cup of tea by any means, but I'm going to vinyl please this thing for that moment where you need that dark thing to lift you up out of that dark place. This is going to be that record, I think, for a lot of people, and I like it for that reason. I like what these guys are doing on this record, and I don't know when the next time they'll give us a new record will be. I don't know if they'll ever give us another one, but hey, if this is a swan song, I think it's a hell of a way to do it, and I really like it as a criticism of the times as well. I think this is a darn good record, and I'm going to vinyl please it. So I hope you find this review helpful. I hope you enjoy this record. If you decide to go down the rabbit hole, please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel, do all the things to help me build this project up in 2022, and stay tuned throughout the week for more album reviews. We'll see you next time on the Beat Sessions.